First up at number 10 is a robotic battlefield companion that replaces 4 legs with 6 wheels. It's the mule. Designed to do the donkey work on the modern battlefield, the mule is no dumb workhorse.
Well, essentially, it's rocket science on wheels.
The secret to this go-anywhere mobility lies in the 6-wheel design.
Essentially, every wheel has an in-hub motor. It's independently driven. Every wheel arm is capable of independent operation, and those wheel arms are able to move in about a 270-degree arc. The vehicle literally can climb over things. It can flatten itself completely to the ground so that it eases the burden of the soldiers loading it with their gear. It can roll right or left, and therefore on a side slope, it can literally maintain a level chassis as it goes across that side slope. Just extraordinary mobility.
It can also put the suspension at its maximum ride height so it can cross over streams or cross over boulders or stumps that might be in the way, or even perhaps logs and things like that that might have been in place there.
Anywhere they go, anything they go through, the mule will be able to follow them.
MULE stands for Multifunction, Utility, Logistics, and Equipment, and it's being developed to help soldiers in 3 key areas: transport, fire support, and mine detection. The counter-mine configuration will have the ability to detect, mark, and neutralize anti-tank and anti-personnel mines. The assault version will be fully armed with an integrated weapon system, as well as the reconnaissance and surveillance tools needed to locate and destroy the enemy. And the transport mule will take most of the weight off the soldiers' backs, carrying over 2,000 pounds, more than a ton of equipment and rucksacks.
It's amazing what we expect soldiers to carry and still do their job. He's got his rucksack, he's got his weapon, he's got his ammunition, he's got his water. People don't think about how heavy water is to carry around. He has his food. Just that amount of stuff on his back, you're talking 40, 50, some units you're talking over 100 pounds.
Well, the whole idea behind this vehicle is to take the load and the grunt work off the soldier and enable him to do his job better.
The vehicle itself weighs around 2.5 tons, so its payload is almost half its own weight again. That's the entire gear and supply complement for 2 whole squadrons on a 24-hour mission.
It allows him to save that energy from hauling stuff around and use that energy for what we want to do, which is get on the battlefield and fight.
Unlike its 4-legged counterpart, this beast of burden will always go exactly where you want. The mule can be driven by remote control using a simple hand device, but it can also be programmed to carry out fully autonomous missions using GPS and navigation sensors.
The fact that this is an autonomous vehicle, that's the most critical thing about it. We tell it where to go, and it'll go there.
Once programmed with the correct coordinates, the vehicle operates all by itself, making its own decisions about the best routes to take.
It knows where it is, it knows what it's doing, and it knows what it has to do to try to overcome really complex terrain, go to places where maybe there's not a road there, and it's going to have to perceive the terrain, be able to determine, do I stay on the path? Do I go off the path and go around that tree, or do I climb over that obstacle? The technology is there to be able to do that.
The mule scores low on our scale for stealth and firepower, but its comparatively low cost and the promise of future autonomy have the U.S. Army interested. They plan to deploy over 100 of these robotic platforms within the next 10 to 15 years.
I believe robots are the way forward. They are a solution to assist our military in being more lethal, more survivable, and more effective in doing their job.
Proving that size isn't everything, at number 9 in our countdown of unmanned systems is Israel's miniature UAV called the Skylark.
What makes it really unique is that it has all the feature of a much larger UAV, all really packaged down in a downsized system.
You think it's a toy, but when you see it's a masterpiece of precision.
It comes from the model aircraft as far as the aerodynamics, because it's really simple and efficient.
We bring the information right to the user in the field. They immediately, in real time.
Weighing just over 12 pounds, the air vehicle itself is small enough to carry in a single backpack. Assembly takes just 15 minutes, and launching the Skylark couldn't be simpler.
Takeoff can either be fully autonomous when we do it from a mini launcher, or just throw it by hand, which anybody can do.
Piloting a full-scale UAV requires specialist knowledge and intensive training. Not so with the Skylark.
We need a little bit of a background, knowing how to operate computers, and that's it. We'll send you for 2 weeks training school, by the end of which you're going to be qualified.
Flying this micro UAV is made easy by a unique feature called Fly by Camera.
You don't have to have any flying skills whatsoever. All you have to point at the area you're interested in, and the system ranges itself in a way that it gives you the information continuously. And that gives you the capability to loiter above and to separate between the flight pattern of the air vehicles and your tracking of the area of interest.
With a wingspan of just over 7 feet and a virtually silent electric motor, this micro UAV can get close to the action without being spotted.
The size of the system and the logistic footprint allows us, first of all, to put the system as close as possible to the area of operation, within a couple of kilometers. The electrical propulsion will give you this low signature, and this unique payload will give you the level of details very much like the level of details that you get high up from the Predator.
The ground crew, up to 8 miles away, receives a continuous stream of real-time, high-resolution video.
The Skylark is controlled by a portable control station, which is enabling the mission planning and control. It can also transmit the video signal to a special receiving system, which is called the Rambo, where the signal can be picked up and displayed on a wrist-worn display operated by the commander or by the operator.
For the soldier on the ground, having over-the-hill reconnaissance within minutes of launch brings a vital advantage.
Before, they would have to get the information by radio. It's a lengthy procedure because in battle the situation changes very rapidly. What the UAV saw a moment ago and they transmit it to you may be not what's happening now. Here, the men in the field, they get the information right where they need it immediately. You get full situational awareness.
And when it's time to pack up and go, a simple push of a button is all that's needed to bring the Skylark back to Earth.
Recovery is quite exotic, where the air vehicle performs a maneuver which is called deep soar, and then drops down like a leaflet on that, and drops back on the ground, cushioned by a special airbag, very much like the airbag in your car. And that all it takes to just perform recovery. You just hit the button, or it's done automatically.
The Skylark is not autonomous, and it has a flying time of just 90 minutes. But its stealth and ease of operation have made it a clear winner with the Israeli Defense Force.